Super XYX is a game I've been playing on and off for the last few years. And a few months ago I decided to clear the game with all the 7 characters, 5 of which you need to unlock. And the Yellow Jacket is the character I'm using for this run, and that's the last character I had to clear the game with. Unfortunately, Yellow Jacket is like a really bad character. And it looks like, the lasers from Blazing Lasers on the PC Engine. But yeah, there's something really off about these lasers that makes it actually quite frustrating to play with this character. I'll go into some of the more details why that is later during the run. But yeah, so here's stage 1. I mean, there's nothing much to say about stage 1. It's the first stage, although it still has some areas where you can easily die if you don't pay attention. Because this is a run where we want to get to the TLB, the true last boss, we have to clear the first 2 levels without getting hit. The game mechanically is quite simple. You have your main shot, you have your bomb button, a slowdown button. So here's the first boss. There are 3 ways to tackle it. You can stay just in front of it and dodge the lasers, which are kind of tricky because they, at the very late time, can still like change direction. You can do the circle strafing strategy that I'm doing now, which is quite easy. Or you can actually seal the boss by putting your hitbox just above the core, the center core, and then it won't shoot the aim bullets anymore. Yeah, I might have done it in a few of my other runs, but yeah, it's kind of a lame strategy. But if you just want to clear the game, yeah, it's a valid strategy nonetheless. Because this game, compared to many other shmups, has a very unique way how to deal with collision. A lot of enemies don't kill you when you touch them, meaning you can just hover on top of the enemies to seal them. And especially in, I think it's stage 4, yeah, this is kind of a vital part of that stage to make it through some of the more tougher sections there. Now, why is this character so bad? Well, that has mainly to do with these lasers that have a semi-random path. And the firing rate of the lasers is very slow. And depending on the enemy you're firing at, a laser might just give you 1 hit. So for some enemies that are like multi-segmented or that have multiple points where you can hit them, the lasers actually can be quite powerful if the beam actually travels and preferably like curves through the enemy's hitbox. But if they just have like a tiny area where you can hit them, then this laser thing is really bad. Also, if you want to seal an enemy with this laser, because the firing rate is so low, so that's kind of what I'm doing now here. I'm just like hovering on top of the boss here, the boss tank. But it takes a lot longer to kill it this way than with any other weapon, because you just don't get that many hits. Yeah, so the bosses in this game look kind of cool, but most of them are quite trivial to defeat because you can just like hover over them, or like there's all kinds of save points that you can utilize. So this is the first stage. We didn't get hit yet so far, so there will be spawning a question mark item. Yeah, and with that item we need to hold on to it. So if I were to die now, then that item would shoot off again and I would have to chase it. And if that happens, I think 2 times, and it will just disappear. But that item is required to make it to the Gauntlet, which is kind of like a special stage you need to go through in order to make it to the last final boss. At this point, we have the maximum amount of options, so 4, which means we picked up 2 option upgrades. Now there is a button where you can kind of change the orientation of the options, but that doesn't do anything for all the ships, so it kind of depends. So for some ships you can like have them shoot sideways or backwards. But with this ship, yeah, there's no difference. It doesn't do anything. So just now you saw me use a bomb. The bomb itself is, like I said before, the damage output is inconsequential. You mainly use it for the invulnerability. Now this boss, again, you can just cheese it by putting your hitbox just above these spheres that fire these lasers and just take them out one at a time. But again, with this character, that typically takes a very long time because of the slow firing speed. But I still do it for the center one because yeah, it's a bit too dangerous to hang out at the bottom. Now we'll be progressing towards the Gauntlet. Now the Gauntlet is kind of interesting because it's a remake of several of the real stages. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And they have either new or remixed bosses. As you can see, on the top left, say the one-up icons changed as well. So you always start the Gauntlet with 2 level ups, and so even if you fail the Gauntlet, if I were to die twice, I already died once, but if I use up all my lives, then you just fail the Gauntlet, but you will continue your game as normal. So you will proceed to stage 4 after this, but then you won't be able to fight the true last boss at the end. Now this game is extremely gives out extreme amounts of bombs. Like I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 bombs at the moment, which I think is the maximum amount. And after every stage that you clear, you will get a bomb. Yeah, so bombs, there are plenty of them. And so I think it's really encouraged you to use them. But I'm trying to save my bombs for the later, more difficult sections. Again, this is a variant of the level 3 boss. Instead of like one of these things, we now need to fight 3 of them at the same time. Staying at the bottom in the center is typically a safe spot, at least initially. But with any other ship, you can totally cheese this boss by just starting with the top sphere, putting your hitbox just above it, and then slowly making your way down. As As you can see, there's a bit of horizontal movement in the screen. So yeah, I really do not think that's a good design decision, because it sometimes hides like enemies or shots. I would rather have that the entire vertical area of the screen is always visible. In the options menu, you can choose between 4 different ship speeds. I think I'm playing on the 2nd speed. I think the 3rd speed is still doable, but it's a bit too fast for me, and the 4th speed is just like insane, makes no sense. There is like a slowdown button, but it doesn't change your shot type. It literally just slows you down, and it slows you down a lot. I typically use it like here. I'm using slowdown button now just to stay on top of these dragon heads. And that's kind of the main purpose, I feel, of this slowdown button, just to be able to stick to these bigger enemies more easily. I always use a bomb there, because these overlapping volcanoes, I really don't know how to dodge that. Yeah, I've had many deaths before when you destroy one of those flying spiked bricks, but then they will like fall downwards towards you, and they will kill you if you hit them. I first learned about this game in one of Smap Junkie's videos about indie games, and yeah, I saw this game and I really fell in love with like the graphical presentation, and yeah, I bought it myself, and this is kind of the game that really made me get into this genre. So in that sense, it holds a special place for me. Okay, almost at the final boss of the Gauntlet. So these lasers are actually really good for this boss we're about to fight, because it has a large surface area where hits are registered, and because these lasers are piercing and kind of, you know, curving around the place, you get a lot of hits. And while the firing rate is quite slow, the damage per hit is really high with this weapon. So it's kind of like ideal for this boss. I always use a bomb here once, so I don't need to dodge the weird shots that just appear out of nowhere and come flying at you quite fast. So yeah, this is great. We managed to beat the Gauntlet, so which means if we manage to reach the end, we will fight the true last boss. Yeah, scoring in this game is all about not dying, because you get very large no-miss bonuses at the end of the stage. And you need to rank up a high combo, which will give you much more and bigger medals. Yeah, so I think this stage is by far the hardest stage in the game when you use this ship type. Like this enemy that just spawned, normally you would just sit on top of it and seal it. And then you would just destroy it really quickly. But with this weapon, I can't really kill that enemy at all. And so, yeah, if I were to seal it, I would be essentially sitting duck when other enemies would start spawning. The same with these tanks, it just takes way too long to kill them, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, normally you would have already killed the top one and you would be sealing the bottom one, and that would have been destroyed by now, and then you could focus on just this new one. Yeah, really stupid death there, but yeah. The game is quite generous with bombs, but it's also quite generous with lives. So, stage 4 boss. Yeah, so yeah, about the scoring. So the whole point is to get like a large combo going, and a combo just means the amount of hits you do. And so if there's too much time between 2 consecutive hits, then the combo resets. Which means that certain ship types, which have a high firing rate but low damage per shot, you can rank up like much higher combos more easily. And so you'll get like a bonus for your max combo at the end of the stage, but that bonus is not a lot. So you're not doing it for that bonus. It's really like if your combo meter is high, you will get more medals. And that is the bulk of your score potential. So this game has 7 characters. You start out with 2, the typical wide shot and narrow shot, and then you can unlock 5 more. These range from Carrotizer, which has homing shots, high firing speed, low damage per shot, but it's a very interesting and enjoyable character to use. Cobra, which is a mix of the first 2 ships, so a bit wider shot, but very powerful shots. It's probably the best character in the game. Traditional character, I would say. Then you have Blue Fox, which shoots like piercing waves. That's almost as bad as this character. Almost. It's I feel that character along with Yellow Jacket are kind of like the joke characters from this game. I really don't know why they were included. Then the most recent character addition is Taurus Alpha. And that character is just way overpowered. Yeah, she fires homing explosions. And it just melts everything in every stage. Getting close to the boss of stage 5. Now this boss looks absolutely epic, and it's such a shame that the entire top of the screen is just a massive save spot. And you can just sit here in the middle where I'm sitting right now, and essentially you don't need to move. You just need to hold down fire and you will eventually beat the boss. So I think for a lot of the bosses in this game, they should have all gotten some kind of aimed attack that at least forces you to move around more. And so that you're not able to just like, idle in these safe spots and then still take out the boss. I've heard that other people complain about bullet visibility in this game. And that can be true because of like how vibrant the colors are and how, yeah, with your own shot you can easily flood the entire screen with your own bullets, sometimes making it very hard to see the enemy bullets. So I think that's a fair criticism. But I guess if you just play this game enough, you yeah, that stops really being an issue. Yeah, for a lot of time, this was for me by far the hardest stage to get through. But with this character, it's really trivial because most of these small, these big ship enemies that you encounter, yeah, this laser just does a ton of like repeated hits on these bigger enemies. So you just melt them, and it's really easy now. This enemy, always just like put yourself right on top of it until the 2 guns are destroyed, and then you can move back away from it. Yeah, the large ship on the right, you should always try and take out the head as soon as possible, because that has a very nasty attack. Again, just like stick to the top of this enemy. Once the side guns are destroyed, you can move backwards. So this game has a lot of things to unlock besides the 5 characters that can be unlocked. You can unlock a boss rush, the Gauntlet mode, so you can practice it separately, and there's also Super Arcade mode. I should do some videos of those at some point, but Super Arcade mode is kind of like the Gauntlet, but then like amped up to 11. So this is normally the last boss of the game. It has 3 stages. This is the first stage. You need to hit that crystal, and it has a very narrow area where you can hit it, so the laser, yeah, barely hits it at all. So this first phase takes a lot of time. And then the second phase is the easiest phase to beat with like this particular weapon, because all these segments you can destroy individually. And because the lasers just hit all of them multiple times, it's over before you know it. I tend to still use a bomb there just to make it even quicker, and 100% guaranteed I'll get through it without getting hit. Again, this phase is also quite easy with this piercing laser. Now we're on to the final, the true last boss. And it looks very cool. It has some cool attacks, but overall it's a bit of a disappointment, in a sense that there are like 2 areas you can destroy. Like its chest plate and its face plate. And then you kind of like enter the boss and need to destroy organs. Specifically its heart. And when you get to that point, there are like 3 variants you could encounter when going inside the boss. 2 of them are like super trivial, they're like super easy to deal with, and one that is like extremely hard to deal with. And in this case, yeah, I got so lucky that that the entire fight is kind of meaningless. So I get the most easy pattern here with one of these like things between me and the boss, but because I have a piercing laser, I hit the heart anyway. And I actually managed to destroy the heart in one cycle. which means I don't even need to take out the helmet of the boss. So I really feel that that shouldn't be possible. But yeah, I mean, I really did not enjoy playing with this character. It was kind of frustrating to get this clear, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, at the time I was quite happy with the luck I had on this boss, that it got the most easy pattern that it could throw at me. So yeah, overall, I still feel this is a fantastic game. The artwork is just amazing. It plays really well. Um, I would say it's not too difficult. If you just like learn some of the safe spots on the bosses and just seal most of the bigger enemies, it's quite doable. The music is also really great. It's yeah, the sound effects are okay-ish, but the music is also really good. If you destroy the true last boss, you always get this ending. If you don't go to the true last boss, every character has its own special ending. And just to show that it was a real struggle to get here, here's yes, it's a compilation of some of my deaths, especially stage 4 and then the final 2 bosses. Yeah, those worms you just saw, that is like the hardest pattern that boss can give you. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at this. See you next time.